Good morning, viewers. Thank you very much. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from the Political Command Center in Mombasa, Kenya, and the day in headquarters in Nairobi. Good morning, Miriam. How are you?
Very fine, thank you, Doc. A very good morning to you, and good morning to our viewers.
Thank you very much. This morning we shall change the tune of, since this is an election year in Kenya, we want to see how prepared is the Independent Electoral Commission, the people supervising, overseeing, preparing, arranging, declaring elections in Kenya. How prepared are they? Good morning, Gladwell Kiragu in Nairobi or in Kenya, somewhere where you'll tell us the location. Good morning, Gladwell.
A very good morning to you, Doc. Good morning to Miriam. Good morning to Daniel and to our viewers.
Thank you very much. Gladwell Kiragu is a journalist with us. She reports for us. She reports on the legacy of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya. We keep the protect and defend the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Gladwell, good work, well done. Thank you very much. Across the CBD of Nairobi, of Kenya, we have our own man himself, investigative journalist, Daniel Sean Wesonga Colombo. Good morning.
Yes, a very good morning to you, Dr. Matsanga David, at our Political Command Center. Good morning to Miriam Ogutu at our headquarters. Good morning to Gladwell Kiragu in Nairobi, and our viewers here in Kenya, East Africa, and the rest of the globe. It is indeed my pleasure to be on the conversation this particular morning.
Good morning, and we are going to be joined by none other than the former town clerk of Nairobi, Dr. Philip Kisia. Dr. Philip Kisia will be joining us shortly. He's also an aspirant for Nairobi constituency called, where is it, Westlands constituency, under the banner of Azimio. He will be joining us shortly to see, to analyze, to engage, to interrogate the system of IEBC. Is it doing the right job? We have, as the fourth estate medium under the panel, the fourth estate is mandated to tell the people the truth, is mandated to say what is supposed to be said, however painful it will be, however bad it will be for us to be persecuted, to be threatened, but we shall lay the truth and nothing but the truth and leave it to the people to make a judgment. I've been cast, I've been told, I've been intimidated. You have read for yourselves how many insults that I take every day because I stand by exposing and telling the truth. I have been talking about the IEBC for 2 years, and I've been telling people the truth. Some of them who were arguing with me did not know who Dr. Muge was. Some of them who were arguing with me don't know the wife of Dr. Muge. Some of them arguing with me did not know where Muge lives in London. Some of them arguing with me don't know that she's a Greek married daughter of the man printing the papers in Kenya. Some of them argued with me, insulted me, bullied me. I am okay. But I'm the fourth estate. Remember, my profession is the fourth estate, Miriam. That's why most journalists in Russia are killed. If I perish today because of telling the truth, let God help me. I have told the truth. We are doing something wrong. If the money for 2017 elections were paid and the exchequer closed the accounts, where is the money for the data of automorpho, which they are demanding before we go to pay? They give data to the Dutch company. Where is it? It's a simple question. Where is it? Chinese don't ask too many questions. I also want to become a Chinese medium. Ask a simple question. Wapi pesa? Hakuna pesa, ingia kwa firing squad. Pesa hizo zilienda wapi? We cannot go around here glossing people and being threatened that oh, Chebukati will call you to his office. Call me to his office. Am I subjected to Chebukati? What have I done wrong? Have I broken the law? It's only Matianga who can call me to his office if I've broken the law. But if I'm criticizing and the media council will tell me don't, because I'm criticizing positively, this is not the way we can conduct a very fragile elections. Period. We are in danger. There is danger. There are loopholes. It is on the papers in the nation that the MPs are running in a parliament that is polarized, in a parliament where the speakers declared interest, in a Senate where the speakers declared interest at the last hour. They are going to make laws which will govern an election. Are you not preparing for bloodbath? Miriam, back to you in the studio. If that is what I've talked is nothing, I ask God that this is the period of Lent, that this is the period of Lent where people talk the truth. If what I've talked is wrong, why are you rushing to parliament? I'm a Christian. I believe time and time again, Jesus said, and the Bible says, when you preach and the people don't take your word, gather the dust. The song finish it for me before Miriam comes in. Gather the dust and go away. But we shall not go away. We have to tell Mr. that I have gone. I'm a Gentile writing a letter from Philippa, a Gentile writing to the Jews. The people of Kenya are the ones going to take part in an election, not me. My role is to expose the loopholes. If they don't fill the loopholes and they seal them before they go to elections, then the world, as a world watchman for public interest, international interest, someone will refer to my notes and my sayings on this television stage. Thank you, Miriam. Back to you for the news headlines.
All right, thank you for that opening. Now just look at the newspaper headlines very, very quickly so that we get back into our conversation. The main headline on the Daily Nation: MPs in mad rush to change the elections law. 4 months to polling day, members of parliament are in a rush to amend the law to allow the physical transmission of election results in areas without 3G mobile network coverage, to have their nicknames accepted by the elections agency, and to block poll petitions pitting MCAs from going beyond the High Court. The story is on page 4. Equity in record 40 billion Kenya shillings profit. That is on the back page. Mama Ngina calls out immature leaders. Speaking in Gatundu, the former First Lady questions the discipline of those attacking Uhuru on the campaign trail and implores Kenyans to go where the president points them. The story is on page 6. We will stick with the D's police service indicates as it rejects degree. The story is on page 2 and 3. And then on the Standard newspaper, the main headline: Ruto's strategy to avert UDA fallout. That is the main headline. Witness: I was paid 10 million Kenya shillings to quit DP's case. That is on page 4 on the ongoing case, ICC case against lawyer Gisheru. And Equity offers 11 billion Kenya shillings dividend after drought, and why God must be a Brazilian. That is on page 46 and 47. Raila heads to Rift Valley after UK trip. That is on page 12. And which way for Karua? Speaker Muturi, you'll find that on page 8 on the Standard newspaper, the Star newspaper. Why giant Raila coalition major threat to ODM. And that is on page 4 and 5, and expressway toll charges, that is the main pictorial, and it has been broken down there, and we shall look at that as we continue on the show. And condoms take center stage in murder trial of Governor Obado, that is on page 12. 10 aspirants try to dethrone Ruto, appoint man Osoro, that is on page 10. And Kenya needs 100 billion Kenya shillings annually for water, says CES. That is what we have on the leading newspapers this morning. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Miriam. We come back to our main topic this morning. Is Kenya prepared for the 2022 August elections? How are the preparations? Miriam, based on the facts that you have, and based on what the papers have written, and based on what is going on, can we safely say, my sister, are we prepared? You can give us a background of this, the facts that you have. What are the pitfalls of insanity? There are so many of them, including one of them, as you have said, 11,000 IEBC polling stations have no 3G. No, you can't reach there. Even if you try from any point, even if you try bringing NASA experts from astronauts or those who study how to change IT, they can't reach there. When the parliament wanted to do dual system, say allow both to work, the parliament was again divided into two. You saw people fighting on the floor. Now we have gone back to the same thing where we are fighting on the floor. People held bottles, beat people. You know, you saw this gentleman from Homa Bay being told to get out of the parliament. He was trying to do something to help this country, so that we don't plunge ourselves, themselves into chaos after August 2022. Now we are here again, back. Already the Parliament of Kenya is divided, media. There are over 160 MPs who have switched parties, and they are no longer talking. Some of them are not coming to Parliament. People are busy campaigning. What type of law are you going to pass now, which is worth to be called an election law? Are we not daydreaming? If this is not daydreaming, what do you call it? Okay, let's go again. The public procurement raised a red flag about a Greek company going to print your ballot papers. Let's go again. The public has raised about the voters register. Yourself on this platform, I think you have even details that how do you print ballots when you don't have voters register? The time limit for display of the voters register is past 3 months. So there you are, Miriam, back to you. As
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Of course, even as we look at the conversation right now, Doc has brought in, because one of the papers has covered now this new rush by members of parliament to change elections laws. Then perhaps we should just start from there, as it has emerged that 11,000 polling stations have no 3G coverage across the country. The story is on page 4 on the Daily Nation, and MPs are racing against time to amend electoral laws to provide for the physical deliverance of election results in areas without network coverage, impose stricter rules on nominations to county assemblies, and guarantee secrecy of campaign financing. They are also rewriting the law so that politicians popular by their nicknames can be allowed to have their monikers on the ballot papers for the August 9th general election, and ensure petitions challenging the election of an MCA do not progress to the Court of Appeal to avoid crowding the higher courts. With party primaries due next month and the House attendance expected to be poor thereafter as MPs campaign in their constituencies, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi yesterday reorganized the order paper to prioritize election-related bills, and the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has urged MPs to pass the amendment on results transmission or to legitimize physical delivery of tallying forms, which is among the irregularities the Supreme Court cited in 2017 when it nullified President Uhuru Kenyatta's re-election following a petition by ODM leader Raila Odinga. I'll start with you, Gladwell Kiruga, of the story that you're reading there right now, and Doc has said there earlier. What do you make of some of these proposals that the IEBC wants to be included in this electoral law that he seeks to change?
Thank you very much, Miriam. And to be honest, despite what the IEBC says, IEBC is not well prepared for these elections. And as we know that Kenyan elections currently, it will struggle to meet the moment. And our elections currently may take a wrong turn. And as we know, our economy currently is not that well off. So the Kenyan stability, the economic tussle, and the dynamic leadership are more essential than ever before. So I don't think IEBC itself is even ready to hold an election. And you, Dr. David Matsanga, when somebody throws dust into you, what you do, you just shake off the dust, wipe off the dust, and you just move on. I submit.
Okay, thank you. And one of the key proposals that I think has really caught my attention there in these changes that IEBC seeks to want to change, I don't know if this was a proposal by Parliament to guarantee secrecy of campaign financing. Daniel Wesonga, among other proposals there, what do you make of these new proposals? I know we've talked about them before.
Thank you so much, Miriam. And of course, to me, the proposals are nothing if IEBC can't even guarantee Kenyans a free, fair, and credible election. As it is right now, it is a mess in IEBC. The tendering of the ballot papers, first of all, wouldn't have gone to Greece, a country which is actually a failing state. And Dr. Matsanga has been talking about this over and over again. And very unfortunate that no one has been paying attention to him, And of course, he has been regarding himself as a Paul preaching to the Gentiles. And it's quite unfortunate. And when it comes to a point of breaking now, I believe, Miriam, we will have no other thing left maybe to guarantee a free and fair election. Because we started talking about this long time ago, but it seems no one has a keen interest in ensuring that the forthcoming elections are free, fair, credible, and verifiable. But IEBC is engaging in all manner of things that are not maybe a priority to this coming election. And I believe even the laws, the laws can be there, but so long as even the tendering process of the ballot papers has some discrepancy, and it has some loose loopholes where people can be able to tamper with it, then all these will be nothing, Miriam, to us. And IEBC has failed the process entirely, because an election is not a one-day event, but a process, a very long process. And IEBC has not been curbing on politicians who have been bribing voters. IEBC has not been curbing on politicians who have been doing premature campaigns. IEBC has not been curbing on politicians who have been campaigning via hate speech and divisive politics. And therefore, it has failed Kenyans a very big time. And I don't think these laws they're proposing could actually be able to save face for IEBC. But if it has to be so, then even these laws actually expose the inability and the incapacity of IEBC to be able to oversee the next election. You know, coming and telling Kenyans that 11,000 polling stations have no 4G or 5G network to be able to transmit electronic results, whereas some of these polling stations are like in Kisumu town, you know, Kiambu, and you know, these places we know very well, where we have the coverage of the internet, of the network. But IEBC has not yet maybe perhaps put there the facilities or infrastructure that is needed to transmit, to take advantage of whatever the local telecommunication companies have provided, so that they are able to transmit the results. So to me, Miriam, I think it actually exposes the inability and the incapacity of IEBC to conduct a free, fair, and credible election. And if you are not careful, then we will see whatever implications Dr. Masanga has been talking about coming into play. I know most people are not giving attention to it. That is the typical way of Kenyans doing things. Even those in high offices are not giving attention to it. Until now, things have moved from worst to worst, is when now you'll see them running around and trying to get people like Dr. Masanga or maybe other experts to be able to help them maybe absolve themselves from this kind of scenario. We don't have to wait until it is late, Miriam. I think action can be taken early enough, and if it were in my own consideration, then I will say we are not ready for these elections. We first must fix IEBC before we can contemplate on having an election come August, Miriam. I submit.
Thank you so much. And of course, the bill is sponsored by Mr. Kinyo and backed by the IEBC. And of course, the IEBC is basing its argument and these changes that it wants are effected on the elections that we had in 2017 and some of the issues that the Supreme Court, raised during that election petition. And you would wonder, IEBC have had 5 years to prepare, at least the last 4 years to prepare for these elections. The new in 2022 will have an election. That is there. Why is it that IEBC chooses right now, when it has so many other issues to deal with? It has some legal issues to deal with, which we shall look at as we continue on the show. It has some tender issues to deal with. It has some other issues to deal with, and to add to that, areas that have not even been covered by 3G. So it should be working to see how that can be, resolved. But it chooses right now to bring this bill to Parliament and try to have these laws on top of whatever else that IEBC has. Doc, will IEBC manage all these issues right now?
I have been on record several other stations saying if I had power in it, I would tell Mr. Chebukati not to handle any ballot in Kenya. Mr. Chebukati has been having, Miriam, it is not only the delay of the law. Look at the delay of the payments. The payment, Automobile company of France wants its money. The Exchequer, the Minister of Finance then in 2017, cleared every bill of IEBC. You remember they went on TV and said everything has been paid. Now today we are coming in another election, Automobile company, which is a very dangerous company. And I warned the people here. Remember again in 2017, I warned the people. Miriam, I think you were there with me. I was warning people that Automobile is the most dangerous company in the world. I don't use it. Don't go there because it's full of DSGE, who are the external intelligence network of France. Now, Chebukati goes to ask Automobile to surrender that data. They can't surrender data. They say, pay us our money. Then we surrender data. Now, where is this coming from? Where is this money coming from? What was the money for? It is one of the reasons that made our election of 2017, which we had worked so hard, which we had run around the town, we broke our hands, destroy our cars. I was one of those who lost enormously, huge. I even almost going to die because of that election. The most hated person, because I was trying to stand by His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta by then. I stood firm. We went for sec. Look, we are running all this. The mistake was simple. Chemkat was asked, where did you put the ballot papers that were spoiled? The Electoral Commission lawyers could not answer. They cannot produce that. Madam, they are here. We can bring them from a box. Or we can go to the storage and bring all of them. We keep them aside, count them, and also declare them as spoiled papers and keep them aside. Have we done a cleanup house issue right now? I don't think so. We are still in the same angle medium bracket. We are still zigzagging in the same bracket. So I don't think, to me, there are two things that you can do. First of all, if you want a free and a fair election here, let's go back to the drawing board of who actually brought the Greek company. Have we received that guy now? I can see Miriam. Have we received or will be notified? Who brought that guy? When did he come to be part of the printing process of these ballot papers? Why is it that among all the printing presses in the world, security printing networks, why have we chosen to go to Greece? Why? Is there something that we don't know, that we need to know? Or is there something that Kenyans? So for us as the fourth estate, Miriam, we have no regrets but to say, and then let them catch us or do whatever they want to do. But life goes on for Kenyans. It's better to have a well-organized election than to have a haphazard election.
Mm-hmm. And Doc, you brought up some new information there about the Timor for refusing to hand over, is it data to the Dutch company Smartmatic Holdings that won the tender.
For refusing to hand over, is it data to the Dutch company?
We apologize for that.
Dr. Kisia,
yes.
I think of your, that's very good. Yeah.
All right. And there was a case, I think, last year in November in court. So let me just remind us just a little bit, even as we just tie to what you just said earlier there, Doc. A tender was continued to haunt the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission after one of the companies that lost in the supply of the Kenya Integrated Elections Management System, KIEMS kit, moved to the court to appeal to challenge the decision by the Public Procurement Administrative Review Board to award the deal to rival company Risk Africa Innovatives Limited. Cautions that KIEMS are a very important component in an election, that the willing vendor must have the capacity to provide full proof of KIEMS that can manage data well to prevent a situation that will leave gaps that can cause nullification of the elections. The company states in the appeal that the data migration was not budgeted for. So maybe that is where now the problem is coming in. The money to allow for the data migration, I think from one company to the next, was not budgeted for when the tender was awarded to Dutch company Smartmatic Holdings. So this was a problem even from the get-go. And what I've heard you saying is that Timor, which was responsible for taking care of that in the other election, has refused to hand over the data to this Dutch company. Can you make that clear for us?
Yes, it is very clear. It is one of the biggest. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity Miriam, on behalf of Punchline Africa Television, to welcome our guest this morning is Dr. Philip Kisia, a former town clerk, a friend of mine for a long time in the 1990s, 2000s. We have been friends for a long time. Both I remember I came here with a project of road safety when he was a town clerk of Nairobi, because we saw so many people dying. And we flew in from London to bring the Minister of Transport, former Minister of Transport called Dr. Paul Clark, a great friend of mine, is now Lord Clark in the House of Lords. We wanted road safety to teach people how to, the morals that Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta have been saying they must come in the BBI in order for Kenya to change. Dr. Philip Kisia was the town clerk. We agreed on a timetable. And then today, he was then a town clerk. The constitution changed to counties. He has been around the Nairobi. You remember, he brought discipline in finance, discipline in working conditions, discipline in many things. He actually changed Nairobi. Nairobi became a city worth where you can come and sit comfortably. He's here this morning with us. Welcome to the show, Dr. Philip Kisia. You can test the microphone.
Good morning, my friend, old friend, Dr. David Masanga. It's always a pleasure to engage you. You're
Yes.
full of wisdom. You're banking yourself. So I'm happy to be with you today, and I'm happy to join you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Dr. Kisia is also the MP, aspirant MP for Westlands constituency in Nairobi, one of the constituencies in Nairobi that if the light, the white smoke comes from there, then you know which direction the elections of Kenya will be. It is like a Tarakaniti. Tarakaniti seals the elections of Kenya, but Westlands opens the elections of Kenya. The results always of Westlands come first, and I don't know why they have designed it very fast that we shall know who has won in the Westlands because of the proximity with the tallying centers which are in town. But thank you very much for joining us. We shall give you time to explain your one-to-one interview, and then my panel will also ask you questions. What do you want to do for Nairobi? What do you want to do for Westlands? What are the changes? But first, you found us on a very dangerous topic. We call it dangerous because it affects you also. You are going to be one of the aspirants on this, one of the candidates. And today, you have a lot of hiccups. There are so many hiccups. The MPs are already divided. The speakers are already taking decision. One speaker wants president. Another one wants governorship. They have gone. Now they are bringing the law in parliament at last hour. When 160 MPs are aligned to one party, and these laws will affect you. They are going to affect you today, tomorrow. A rushed law is as bad as a bad law. If you rush the law without scrutiny, public participation, and so on and so forth, or amendments, what you can call them anything. A law remains a law. You can even say an amendment, but it is the law. You are amending something that is going to affect the current aspirants who want to come up to vie for posts. You could be locking your friends out in order for you to win quickly. So what is your general view, Dr. Philip Kisia, about the IEBC? I know you have reservations. Some of the IEBC officials are your friends, but this is for the good of Kenyans, because everybody is now saying, why is this automorpho issue coming back 5 years past? Dr. Kisia.
Thank you very much, Dr. Masanga. I think this is a time bomb. It's a time bomb because for the first time in the history of the Republic of Kenya, seeing an attempt by those who have been bequeathed the responsibility of managing them, trying to interfere with the process at the last minute. We have less than 140 days to elections. It is unbelievable that IEBC can try and introduce changes to the Electoral Act within within less than 140 days. Remember, the Constitution is very clear that any matters that affect the people of this republic must be taken through public participation. So the question is to my good friend Chebukati and team, do we really have time to take this process through public participation and then get Parliament, get through the parliamentary process before it is, before the laws that they have proposed to be changed are changed? I don't see that happening. I can breed a lot of mischief. And I was there, I've been around for some time. I was there, in fact, in 2007, I was at KICC, which was the Operation Center for Elections, and I know what happened. I saw what happened. One day I'll write a book. It is a very dangerous thing that we are trying to get into. And IEBC better take note. We've had a bad experience before. We do not want to have that experience ever again in this republic. Others will hold IEBC squarely responsible for anything that will happen this great Republic of Kenya. The other thing that Matanga that really bothers me, for the first time since independence, we are seeing the Speaker of the National Assembly, who is ahead of one of the government arms, actively involved in politics. Resigned by yesterday so that he can focus on elections and leave somebody else to run and manage Parliament. Finally, I'm hoping that those who are in Parliament will see the need of throwing this matter out of the agenda of Parliament, because it's not going to work for them. It will not work for Kenya. We shall not accept any changes to the current constitution within the given time frame that we have. It cannot work. It will not work. And Chebukati, Justin Muturi, and those behind this devil scheme must take note.
Thank you very much, Philip Keith, Dr. Philip Keith here. I think the concerns are to every Kenyan. One of the things that has worried us, there's a report circulating, which I have sent you also a copy, where the money, first of all, the register, you don't know how many voters you have in your Westlands constituency. Because that is what should be given in 6 months before. Why is there an election? An election is not one-day process. An election is that you are given the voters register. Then you can plan your money. You know that Westlands has got 200,000 people. Eligible voters will be 20,000. Then you know, sit down and say, I'll use 1 shilling per person for fuel here, for fuel there, for fuel this way, for food here, for tea, for out-of-pocket expenses. That's why the law was set 6 months before. We are now in the 2nd month. Miriam, is it the 2nd month or going to the 3rd month? Where we have passed before the registers displayed, cleaned. And now we go to the cleaning process. A Dutch company comes and says, we have been awarded a tender. Can you transfer the data to us? The French company says no. In our contract, there was no transfer of our data. There was no transfer of data for us. We were not told we should have a clause. We told you when you want to transfer the data medium and the panel, Dr. Kisia, you pay us money, billions, it is not simple money. It is a lot of money which is being asked for by this automorpho in billions. Now, IEBC itself has no billions to conduct an election. IEBC itself has not paid, did not see. It has lawyers who should have seen the act, the clause, because automorpho says we shall not surrender the data. So where does this leave elections of Kenya? My panel, Dr. Kisia.
I think we are headed to a pretty serious crisis. And as I said earlier, this is the first time in the, since independence, we are seeing, or rather, we have, as Kenyans, we don't seem to have a lot of confidence in the manner in which the electoral body has prepared for these elections. As you have said, the law is very clear. The register should be available for scrutiny 6 months to elections. That voter register is not available. We are now within the 6 months. The electoral body has not come out to tell Kenyans what is going on. And therefore, the whole thing is left to, speculation. And the first speculation would be that there's an attempt to rig. To give us confidence, those of us who are vying for electoral positions, and even Kenyans at large, the chairman of IEBC and his electoral body must come out very clean and give us a clear timetable, and where they have already crossed the line, the timetable that is clearly spelled out in the Constitution, they need to tell us what remedy can be taken. I don't know what remedy can be taken, because if you've broken the law, you've broken the law. If the law says, 6 months before election, the register must be ready, what do you do? What remedies do you have? What assurance can you Kenyans? Because I was there in 2007, I saw what happened, and I will tell Kenyans what happened one day.
Thank you very much. Songa, sorry, back to Miriam. Those were my questions. You can now also, throw questions to the, before we go to a break, then come back with the more details on what you want to do for Westlands. Yes.
Okay, and I just want to ask Honorable Philip Kisia just a question before we move on to Wesonga. IBC is now saying these changes that is seeking to have in the electoral amendment bill is as a response of what happened in 2007 and the elections, and we know what happened there. And one would wonder, why did IBC wait since 2007 to today and decide this will be the time to have this bill in Parliament? What was it doing all this time?
I think that's a very a good question. It's mind-boggling. We had a boggled election in 2007. From 2007 to date is almost 10 years. A child who was born then is now in Form 2. Surely, if we have no capacity to plan on even something that we know, what capacity do we have for things that we don't know, things that we don't anticipate? These are things that we know. These are things that we know required changes. Either the infrastructure we needed to change, the laws needed to be changed. We had all the time. We have not changed. We are now making an attempt to make changes in the last minute. Surely, in any civilized society, those responsible should have been in jail. They should have been in jail, or they should have resigned from office. Because this sort of inefficiency, ineffectiveness should never be allowed. You cannot have 15 years, a luxury of 15 years, you've done nothing. What about things that you don't anticipate? If things that you know require change cannot be changed, what about things that you do not anticipate? Can you really come up with interventions?
It's 11 hours.
So
these are weighty matters, and the chairman and team need to come out very clearly and tell us exactly what is happening. Because sure, 15 years is a long time. We had all that time. They can't tell us they didn't have resources. They have been there. Because if you have been given a job and you're not given the resources to do the job, the honorable thing to do is to resign. You don't stick in office when you don't have the tools, you don't have the resources to do the job. I mean, this is ridiculous.
All right.
Is there anybody? Can I come in here before you go? Town clerk, my good friend, Dr. Kisia. Do people have morality in Kenya and Africa? Do we have morals? We have seen the deputy president has no character and conscience. Is hanging on to power as a deputy president by constitution. But the constitutions are made morally. The constitution is made by people who have morality, who have morals. They put it there that once you see something, you come back to your office and your wife, your son asks you, Dad, what is this I'm hearing in the public? You say, no, I'm still the vice president, I'm still the deputy president. Do we really have morals in this Africa? And in fact, for me, I at times I disagree with Dr. Yoweri Museveni on number of things. But the people in Uganda have morals. Some of them resign. You have seen how many vice presidents have resigned in Uganda. They have gone. They said, the president has no confidence in me. I'm going. But the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya today is taking on a job. He's collecting allowances, which you never do in the Nairobi town clerk of yours. When you are there, I saw people being locked up for trying to falsify records. Now, the deputy president is a ghost worker, collecting money every morning, going on, and Mudavadi is eating the money, Wetangula is eating the money. They are now eating the taxpayers' money. Then they come to the people and say, we want your votes. Do we really, my dear brother, Dr. Kisia, do we have morals and morality? Do we have conscience in Africa to resign? You have brought the word resign. Can Chebukati at this moment resign? Can Chebukati do something very good like what my friend Piero Lumumba did? When people were on his neck, he just walked off, said, I've resigned, and I've gone home. He didn't wait to be pushed out. Can people do that? What time shall we have people to say, bye-bye, I've lost, I'm going home, I've resigned. Clear me, I will come back. He's stuck there. Now, if you are talking of Chebukati, what about the main elephant, the bull, in the house? He's busy. Even he has got a new party, a new color, and he's driving in new color in the cars of the old presidency. He's not resigned. How do you expect Chebukati to go? Tell me. I'm asking you, Dr. Kisia. How? The Constitution was made by us, by you, and it must be observed. But it must be observed. But you are observing a Constitution on a wrong footing. What do you say to your children who have studied law? They say, Daddy, but you resigned from one party to the other and you are the deputy president. And I'm Richard. I'm Richard Ruto. I have studied law in London University. Please, can you do one thing? Dad, resign. Ruto is not resigning. He said he's not going anywhere. He might actually stick there. And have you seen? There's this situation of you people saying that there will be a handover. Which handover where? Who will come for handover? the man you have been shouting, how will he hand over? It is going to be Trump versus, for the first time in the history of Kenya again, if Ruto wins an election, you might not see Mr. President coming there. And therefore, you will delay for another 7 months. Because have you looked at your constitution, by the way? Have you looked at your constitution to see that in case there is a problem of handover, what do you do? In case there is a problem of handover, Miriam, it has left you. Have you seen all of us are quiet on the panel? In case the other guy does not come to give you that sword, because you can't go to that house without a sword. What did you do? The Constitution does not give them the mandate. That does not tell us what we should do at that moment. The speakers of the House, at that moment, the Constitution only tells us if there is no outright winner, we go back for a runoff or a rerun in case of conflict, or a runoff in case of not meeting the threshold of 50+1. All right? But it does not tell us that if the president does not like to come to give the sword, what do we do? I think we better, Kisia can start digging the Constitution, and maybe by that time we'll come with a solution. What do you do? If Uhuru does not come, leave his house with Motoke to go to Kasarani, what do? You come and force him out of the house? So that is one of the things you brought here on this show this morning. In case the unpredictable things happen, what does the Electoral Commission do if it cannot solve the predictable ones? I leave it there, Miriam. I think Kisa can add something there. What do we do there?
And of course.
Well,
go ahead.
Dr. Masanga, I first of all don't see that. I pray that it doesn't happen.
No, I didn't. I am not a bad man wishing you.
I know you're a very good man, David, but I also pray that it doesn't happen. And I know I've known His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta for quite some time now. I think about 3 decades or more. I'm sure he'll do the right thing. But the beauty is that as we stand right now, the winner of this election is fairly clear.
Yes.
We know that
that's okay. It consoles me. I am happy.
You see, we are fully aware that the Prime Minister has taken a lead, and is a good lead. And in another few weeks, even the lead would even be even wider. And we don't anticipate that one. So I'm sure things will work out so that we don't get to that level. My fear is that the others may not accept the results. That's where the problem may arise. But as to who will win the election, I think it's becoming clearer by the day. Well, again, that is why it is important for Chebukati and team to come out in the public and tell us how prepared they are for these coming general elections. They must not only issue us with their timetable, but they must give us very clear indications. They must take us through the steps that will give us confidence that they are indeed ready to manage and run these elections so that we have credible and verifiable elections. We do not want a repeat of what happened in 2007. His Excellency, the President, did confirm that he's a Democrat, and he has assured Kenyans before that he will do everything within his powers to ensure that we do not have a repeat of 2007. The former Prime Minister, His Excellency Odinga, has also indicated very, very strongly that he will do everything within his powers to ensure that we not have a repeat of 2007. And therefore, I am requesting the other candidates to also come out very strongly, very clearly, to tell the Kenyans, to confirm to Kenyans that they will accept the election results. Mm-hmm. And they will not make an attempt to create any chaos in this country.
All right.
Miriam, I agree with Dr. Kisia, but there are 4 words I want to use here as an academic. Have we reached a state of self-pity? Dr. Kisia, pick one, that is one. A state of self-pity, a state of desperation, a state of self-hate, and a state of depression in our politics. Those are the 4 words which you know very well, all of you, the panel, you can try them. Are we self-pity, desperate, self-hate, depressed? I can add the last one. As a political scientist, I see the last one becoming stronger and very dangerous, that we might reach a stage where we can say, Allah, the feeling of usefulness, uselessness, despondency. Miriam, I am not, the whole Africa, I'm not only talking about Kenya now, because Dr. Kisia, if you look at the whole Africa, is almost the same problem. Part of the problem that springs, army leaves barracks and comes, is that in West Africa, how many coups have we had? 6. In the shortest time that we were here, the 6-7 years. And the first point they said that they cancel election, the elections were not good. We have even lost one president. One president of Chad was killed after swearing in. He went to the battlefield, he was killed. So, have we reached those 5? Are we heading to those 5 states? I am not going to be like this group that say the Kenyans are the most, that was very, very bad, surely. Kenyans are very loving people, and this group, NGOs that sit in somewhere in Europe, and start measuring how good you laugh and how loud you laugh. How do you say Ugandans are the most happiest people? How can we be happy? Because of eating matoke or what? I think that's all we have. But here we are, Miriam, those 4 states, those 4 issues, the tenets plus the 5th one, are we heading to a state of despondence? Has Ruto made this country head to despondence, where even people support openly? They tell you, we want the thief. We don't want Mr. Kisia, we want the thief. We want the thief. We want the thief. We don't want a good man like Muhisa Kisia to go and represent us, Miriam. What do you think? Let's leave to other panel like Wesonga, and I can see Gladwell is eager to come in. There you are. I surrender the platform.
Gladwell, go on.
Yes, Dr. Thank you so much. And my question, I would love to ask our guest, that is Philip Kisia. Do you think IEBC is being influenced to generate results, or is it democratic to the Kenyans? And there's another question. We've seen in the past IEBC officials getting murdered, that is like Chris Musando, and others resigning like Ezra Chino. But do you think it is because of the pressure of cohesion to provide results, or is it also repeat itself since you're an aspirant currently?
Do you want to answer that, or Wesonga can also hit some questions to our guests? You can note it down and answer. Yes, Wesonga.
Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga David. In as much as maybe I'm following the conversation closely, I don't think I have any question for Dr. Philip Kisia, who is my senior. Maybe perhaps I'll wait for that moment when Miriam will be asking and yourself asking whatever maybe manifesto he has.
So let me ask you. Let me ask you a
Yes.
question, Daniel. An issue there that our guest has brought on, which is that there's a possibility, that the other side might go to court and challenge the results of these elections. But even as you're looking like right now, and we've been looking at some of these issues and the legal problems that even IBC is facing right now in court, like the latest one, we know that the voter registrar has not been cleaned up, and according to the law, that should have been done 6 months towards the election. So that is already a problem. And IEBC was saying it will seek an advice from the AG, but the Constitution is the Constitution. So that is another one legal hurdle among others. So even if it's not the other side that will go to court to challenge the results of the elections, but already with all this myriad of legal issues, don't you think we are setting ourselves up for a ground for a petition and legal hurdles even after the elections already?
Absolutely, Miriam. And on this note, I will agree more strongly with what Dr. Matsanga has talked about. And remember, he has been talking about this for a while. And I also absolutely agree with Dr. Philip Kisia that Wafula Chebukati should indeed resign from his office. Remember, after bungling the 2017 presidential election, IBC was marked as a crime scene. And there are some court orders which were advanced on the side of IEBC in terms of opening up the servers and doing some inside job cleaning. But you realize that all these has not actually been effected. And therefore, IEBC under Wafula Chebukati has been operating in contravention with the law, and it has been going ahead to do more fraudulent dealing in terms of tendering and even the preparation for the 2022 presidential election. So, Miriam, you realize that right now we have cramped up illegalities that are actually in the closet of IEBC. In that, if we have to proceed and go ahead with this presidential or general election in particular, then we shall actually be running the risk, as you say, of someone moving to the Supreme Court or any other court of the land and having the results nullified. And remember, IEBC has gone ahead even also to conduct 50 plus elections, regardless of the fact that a court had ruled that its composition was not meeting the constitutional threshold, which means that we actually also run the risk of having all these 50 plus by-election and other elections being nullified by the court. So I don't know if it is by sheer ignorance or is it by design that Wafula Chebukati chooses to operate within the confines of anarchy, or maybe is it in-house sabotage that the IEBC does so that maybe to hit certain political quotas. But Miriam, whatever is happening at the moment, I think is something worth our concern. It's something worth the concern of all the stakeholders who are in these elections, including aspirants like Dr. Philip Kisia, the judiciary, and other government authorities that are able to oversee, to ensure that the IEBC conducts free, fair, and credible elections. Nonetheless, Miriam, like I always say, we have made our politics so strong that we can never even sit on the table and be able to discuss quintessential matters that can be able to elevate the leadership of our country. Remember when the Intergovernmental Committee on Elections came up and they were telling IEBC that we want to help you to be able to prepare for these elections so that at the end of the day, you'll be able to carry out a free, fair, and credible elections. What was the outcome of that? The UDA side of government started crying foul over it, saying that perhaps the deep state was trying to interfere with the elections of the day. So to me, I think we have a very, very big problem. And like Dr. Philip Kisia says, IBC has been showing concerns for all the useless things, whereas it has been ignoring the most important parts of an elections. And therefore, if we continue moving ahead like we have been doing in the past few days or the past few years, then we can go to these elections fully aware that we actually going into the kitchen with a recipe of chaos, like Dr. Masanga has been warning us for quite some time. Remember when first Dr. Masanga started talking about having electoral reforms, it was even before we had the BBI coming up with the similar proposals. And therefore, it has been always my standing agenda, or maybe my view, that we cannot go to the 2022 presidential elections without having an overhaul at IEBC. We cannot go to the election with the same formula that we've been having since 1992 that has been bringing chaos to this country year in, year out. So to me, I think, first of all, we have to do an overhaul in IEBC, and that is having Wafula Chebukati resign. I don't know, perhaps that is gonna bring a lacuna or maybe a constitutional crisis. But you know, Miriam, it is better to have the elections delayed rather than having an election come in August and then the country goes to the dogs. But another thing also we need to do, and that is a failure on the part of IEBC, is actually having the register cleared. And that is something they ought to have done 6 months before the elections. Why didn't they do so? Instead, whatever we've been seeing is IEBC trying to engage in some unscrupulous tendering and asking for more money without showing Kenyans the results of the work that this money is doing. So to me, I think Wafula Chebukati is either incompetent or maybe he's acting on behest of somebody else, and therefore we must not actually maybe leave all these enterprise of running an election to Wafula Chebukati. We must stand up. The people who are stakeholders in this election, including the Kenyan voter, should stand up and make the IEBC to be accountable. Otherwise, we are going to repeat the same mistakes. And remember, Kenyans are always united until the time of an election. And the election has been the biggest impediment to the growth and development of this country in all spheres. We realize that whenever we come to an electioneering period, everything actually comes to a standstill. And that is because Kenyans have never found confidence in the electoral bodies that there was, since independence. And there's need, for IEBC to act up and be whatever it's supposed to be. That is the reason why we had a new constitution and we moved from ECK to IEBC, so that it is an independent body, a body that can guarantee Kenyans a free, fair, credible, and verifiable election. But as far as IEBC is concerned, I think, Miriam, we are still far from it in terms of ensuring free, fair, and credible election. Remember, these same simple blunders that Wafula Chebukati is actually allowing to stream into the bloodstream of IEBC are the same blunders that actually cost the country a lot of money in terms of a repeat election. And this comes, today it is coming at a very, very bad time when we are having an economic meltdown, even globally. And also, you've had IEBC saying that they don't have even enough money for a rerun. Then if they know they don't have enough money for a rerun, then why allow loopholes where someone could actually move to a court of law and have an entire election nullified, simply because you had some loopholes of negligence on your part as a commission? I believe some of these things were simple things. Wafula Chebukati, being a lawyer, he did not even need to go and consult the Attorney General. Rather, he would have done his homework and undertaken his mandate as dictated by the Constitution. We wouldn't be at this particular place. But as far as that is concerned, I believe, Miriam, it is a big mess. And if not cleared up and some reforms done at the helm of the IEBC, then we are destined for a disaster come August of this year, Miriam. I submit.
Very well. And we know that part of the Elections Amendment Bill 2002, the bill seeks to allow the IEBC to declare election results from physically delivered forms, a big departure from requirement to have all results transmitted electronically. And I think the last time you were having this conversation, the bill states that in the case where the physical results differs from that one of electronic, then the physical results takes precedence. That will be the one to be considered. And judging from what even necessitated for our electoral process to have this electronic process to be part of our elections after the 2007 disputed elections, how do you think Kenyans are understanding this proposal by the IEBC, Honorable Kisia?
Now, Miriam, whether the intentions are good or bad, the mere fact that you're introducing, very fundamental changes to a very sensitive process last minute creates a lot of doubt in whatever you're doing. As I said earlier, we had all the time from 2007. I'm sure Chebukati and those who have been there before must have carried out an audit of where they got it right, where they got it wrong, and where they got it wrong, they must have developed strategies, to ensure that their processes are improved and they're tight, so that we have a free, fair, credible, and verifiable election process. Now, the mere fact that everything is, shrouded in a lot of dark smoke does not inspire confidence. And that is where I think the problems would begin. Because if you don't inspire confidence in a process, it doesn't matter the intentions you have. People lose confidence in you. And once people have lost confidence in you, it does not matter what you do. They have lost confidence, and that is period. So therefore, and I agree with what my brother Wesonga said, and what Dr. Masanga said earlier. The big question is, do we really have any morals? Do we have morals? I mean, if you've been given a job and you think that the operating environment is so turbulent, it is so bad that you are unable to perform because you don't have the tools to perform, I think the best you can do for yourself, for the nation, is to step aside and allow somebody else to take charge. Because if you don't, and something happens, then I can tell you, we'll blame you, not only you, we'll blame you and your other generations that will come. Therefore, I'm still pleading, and I'm hoping that, my friend, my very good friend, Wafula Chebukati, will come out clean in the next few days and give us a clear roadmap and inspire confidence in not only the people who are vying for different elective posts, but to the Kenyans. Because if we don't inspire hope, then we'll start rigging the elections, because there will be we have apathy, people will not turn up for elections, and the people who end up being elected will not reflect the true position of Kenyans. Mm-hmm. Therefore, I think Chebukati and his team has a lot of work to do. The other concern I have, just in closing, is that there was a time the entire electoral body was left with 3 commissioners. I think out of 7 or out of 9? Mm-hmm. And you still operate as if nothing has happened? Are we really serious? Do you have any morals left in us? And you want to stick on some technicality that, we can still operate as 3, yet you know that you don't have a quorum to operate. Those are some of the things that, going forward, as Kenyans, we need really to interrogate and ask ourselves whether we're doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. We need to do the right thing, particularly when it comes to electoral matters, so that we can inspire confidence in the people of this republic. Otherwise, we are headed towards some very, very serious chaos.
And that is a very important point there, the last one that you just brought up, Honorable Philip Kisia. There were 3 commissioners, and so the Constitution says that is the minimum. But according to the electoral laws, should be 5. And of course, even during the case in the to do with the BBI, I think that was brought up, and it's IBC's ability to conduct, the BBI and all that, with the number of commissioners it had. That was questioned. And we know that IEBC went ahead and made very important decisions in line with preparation for the elections when there were only 3 commissioners. And this takes us back to some of the legal hurdles that will come up even after the election. There seems to be pre-existing, but you're just sweeping them under the carpet and hoping that, that will not be a problem. But some Kenyans somewhere, even forget the politicians, are just sitting and waiting. Some NGOs somewhere, some people with different, intentions, some are just waiting to see. And then after the elections, these are matters that could be brought up, when they're petitioning that election. But also you've said that Chebukati should inspire confidence so that Kenyans can truly be confident that he's able and capable of conducting a free and fair and verifiable elections in line with our constitution. But the nullification of the 2007 presidential elections and the blame that was laid directly to the door of IEBC, was that not indictment enough that maybe affected the confidence of Kenyans towards trusting that the IEBC under Chebukati can actually do a good job, Dr. Matsanga? Has that changed?
It hasn't changed. It has remained status quo. You have seen exactly, nobody up to today, nobody has told anybody where the spoiled ballot papers went. Have you been told? Do Kenyans know? The question that the Deputy Chief Justice Mwiru asked, the technical question that brought down our election was that. That's it. And I was telling my people when I was seated waiting for this announcement, I said, we are done. Let me have a brand. At that time, I was even Dr. Kisia, I used to drink. Now I no longer drink alcohol. I left. I said, I bought a full bottle of brandy, Mattel, and I said, let me drink. We have lost an election. You people can continue listening to this. The guys are going to nullify this election on that technicality. Because if you cannot account for the spoiled papers, you could have mixed them and accounted them. That was what Justice Mwiru, Deputy Chief Justice Mwiru was meaning. Where did they go? And all the judges picked on that and said, where did the papers go now? Today, Chebukati has not corrected that mistake. 2, the only thing that can save Chebukati's face now is if the Supreme Court comes back and says, Allah, this country is our country. The country, Kenya, needs to move forward in a united format. Chebukati can smile. If the ruling of the Supreme Court, Dr. Kisia, comes that they have nullified what the High Court, the Appeal Court did, and they have given new, advice on what can be done, Chebukati can mingle himself around there. But as we speak now, his rope is actually tight. Because if it doesn't come clean and give you aspirants a timetable, a good, convincing timetable, that this thing is going to be good, all people are going to come up and say, we have been there before, we don't want to go there. And for me, as a fourth estate, Matanga, I might not be a good man to receive an award, but I'm a good man with the neck of a giraffe. I've seen far. I've seen what is going to happen. As Miriam says, one NGO is sitting in a corner somewhere and is waiting to just to file documents to say, you see, before you go far, let's first sort this mess. This thing was not properly done. I've seen it far. So as we come to a conclusion so that we can give Dr. Kisia, we can show some of the achievements of Dr. Kisia in the Westland constituency and give him, we show his work, then Miriam, you can fire him questions, how will he change the Sariti Center to become a Dubai of tomorrow? Do you have any other things? I want to conclude by saying, and I want to say this on this phrase, this because it is 34 minutes past. I wanted to give Dr. Kisia 30 minutes and his work on the program so that you come back tomorrow and you can be explaining your things today, tomorrow, anytime. You are welcome. You are our MP in our area. Where we are, you are the one who governs us. You will be our MP. And you are on this Azimio, luckily enough, where I also belong now. I don't have regrets why should I hide? I belong there. If you don't like to see my face, go to the transformer then and say you don't want to see Matanga's face. But I'll still live. Graduate has just told me, don't just get the dust and go. And just keep going, telling the truth like the one we have told. So, the only thing that you can do as Kenyans is now to tell your party leaders to sit down and look in the sky and say, are we not preparing a disaster? Otherwise, it is already a disaster. If we live, as Kisa has said, a dark smoke already has gathered here, and you don't explain to us, you are rushing this bill, no public participation. You want to amend some section because people are already in the constituencies. How many MPs will be in the chamber? Is there anybody in the chamber at the moment who can come for, even if you say come to collect allowance of 5,000? They rather be in the constituency. They are not here. They are not there. So we have a problem. The worst thing in Africa is we don't see the truth. We only see the wrong things. And even when we see the truth, we don't want anybody to bring what is going to be wrong, like what the town clerk has said. Unpredictable material is the most dangerous element of any strategic management. By the way, the town clerk teaches strategic management. It is the most unpredictable. If you don't know what is going to come tomorrow, and you have not solved what you can solve, then you must be a very bad administrator. So, if I were Chebukati, and Akombe, by the way, before I leave, Akombe was telling yesterday, she said, the worst thing for Africa is we, the middle class. I don't think that the middle class, Africa has no middle class. Dr. Kisia, we can argue until morning, apart from you, whom I cannot call middle class, because if I put you, lump you there, people will also tell you a thief. Africa has thieves who steal from the contracts of government and the poor people, like Ruto. Ruto steals from both. Up, he gets tenders. Down, he cheats the masses. Is that the middle class in Africa? Is Ruto an example of middle class? And Kombe was saying, it is us, the middle class, so-called, in Africa, who have made Africa look ugly. I think for the first time, I did not like her much, but if I find her in Addis Ababa, I will buy her coffee and have a drink with her. She likes having a drink. So she has said something that touches me. We have a problem. We see now Chebukati is a middle class, very well organized with hefty allowances, taking home, bodyguard, 3, 5, 6, 7. He can even command you to be taken into River Nzoia, or river. There is a River Nzoia near his house. Say, take this guy in the River Nzoia. This is a man we used to walk together. Now he can even say, take him. No. That is what the life we have in Africa. So thank you very much, Dr. Kisia. We are bringing back and Miriam back to you, as I say, as we bring. Stephen has got all the programs. I've sent the videos. after the videos are played, Dr. Kisia, Miriam, and anybody on the panel, fire him 2, 3, 4 questions he answers, and we call it a day. We want him to, the constituents around here, the region now watching, those are the people, those who will keep the clip, he can keep it later on and use it in his campaigns. Thank you very much. The elections in Kenya, preparations are elections, is a one word that I want to leave with you. Can we qualify gerrymandering? I don't know whether Dr. Kisia agrees with that. Is there a gerrymandering situation here? If I was writing my report back to the UN, when I went to East Timor, I went to East Timor to observe and monitor elections. My first word was gerrymandering by Indonesians. And one of my managers, line managers, whom I was writing to in London, said, "Are you sure you saw gerrymandering?" I said, gerrymandering is not seen physically. It is seen through several methods. Because if you tell East Timor guys not to come to register, you have already killed an election. You have gerrymandered an election. Finished. You have changed the rules. So I think the rules are being changed. This is not very good for us. Thank you very much. Miriam, back to you. Let's see the videos. Stephen, are you ready?
Yes, the production.
Yeah, if they are ready. Dr. Kisi has the video which I sent you this morning.
Yeah.
He has been talking. Yeah, thank you. Miriam says.
All right. As Steve is saying, it will take perhaps a moment there, but perhaps as we wait for that, perhaps Honorable Philip Kisia could take this opportunity for the Kenyans who have not heard what he has done before, what he has been involved in before, maybe just an introduction so that they get to understand who you are and what you've done before in public service and what you intend to do for the people of Westlands constituency.
Dr. Kisia, we are saying, go ahead now. The platform is yours as we prepare your videos. If you have a new video there that you want to send us, send me now or send that guy the number, Stephen, for him to play it, the one you want most.
Thank you, David, for this opportunity, and I know we're getting to a close. I think the first thing that I would request the voters for Westlands, and indeed the voters anywhere in the Republic of Kenya, is to know who their MCA is, who their MP is, senator, governor, women rep, president. We need to know who are these people. Those people need to put their into public their CVs so that we know who they are. I have put my CV in the public, but I'll quickly say what I've done before, just very quickly because of time. I started at a very early age to serve, to serve the public. When I was in my late 20s, I was elected as the chairman of a residential association called Urban Park Welfare Association, where we are doing our own things, including, garbage collection or garbage management, security, landscaping. So we were a community and we became a model. We became a model of how a residential unit should be run. I then, of course, was approached by the business community, led by my late friend Chris Kirubi, Manu Chandaria, Sandy Bora, the late Sandy Bora, and the rest, to join them. And we started the Urban Regeneration Program for Nairobi in collaboration with City Council of Nairobi, way back in the early 2000s. We also started off the community policing program, which is a collaboration between the communities and the police. You remember many years ago, there was a lot of mistrust between those who are being policed and those who are policing. So we were able to bridge the gap, and the communities and the police were able to work together. I am the founder chairman of KARA, Kenya Alliance of Residents Association. I've served as a board member of Nairobi Interim Oversight Board that was funded by World Bank, and we were in charge of the human capital and restructuring of finances at City Hall. I am a founder trustee of KEPSA, and finally, of course, I've served Nairobi as the last town clerk and the first and last chief executive officer. Now, so in the last 3.5 decades, I have volunteered my time to serve the public. I'm driven by nothing else but service to the people. I'm driven by nothing else but passion to serve and to serve the people. So those are my two guiding principles. I want to provide servant leadership, and I have a passion to do the job. Now, what is my vision for Westlands? My vision for Westlands, or rather, our vision for Westlands is to make Westlands the economic and social hub of Nairobi that is vibrant, secure, and homely for all those people who live in Westlands constituency. I want Westlands constituency, to be a role model of what an urban constituency should look like. There are many challenges, but first of all, I must give credit to the outgoing Member of Parliament, Honorable Tim Wanyonyi, the incoming Governor of Nairobi. He has done a superb job. He has laid a very strong foundation, and I'm sure that I'll take over. I'm taking over, a foundation that is not built on sand, but a very, very solid foundation. I promise the people of Westlands to continue and even make better the programs that Timothy started. The things that I have been engaging the stakeholders of Westlands, they have pointed up areas that need, that we've done very well with under the leadership of Timothy Wanyonyi, but things that we need to improve. I think number one on the list, of course, is job creation. Jobs. Jobs for the youth, jobs for women. People, most people in Westlands are jobless, and therefore I have done it before. I have capacity to create an environment that can attract investment, and with investment coming through to Westlands, moving on, creating Westlands as a hub. Jobs will be created through private sector, and of course, the other challenge that the people of Westlands have spoken about is the issue of infrastructure. We've done fairly well on roads. I already know the roads that have been done, those on which are motorable, those on which need improvement. I already have that the report, and I'm ready to go. And I'll work with not only the county government of Nairobi, because there are some roads which are under the county, the other roads which are under Kura, and the other roads under Kenya. So my job as the incoming Member of Parliament is to ensure that I hold those institutions that that mandate to deliver in that particular area of infrastructure. I'll hold them accountable. I have already asked for their programs. I know what they're doing, and I know what they're supposed to do in the next 5 and 10 years. So my job is to make sure that the job is done. I'll hold them accountable. The other area, of course, that the Westland people have talked about is water and sanitation. I know the Nairobi Metropolitan Services has been doing a fairly good job. They have rolled out several programs, to improve the water flow into Westlands. We still have a huge shortage of water into Westlands, and therefore I've already started engaging those who are concerned, and they've given them the programs. that they have within the next 2 years, and with a good member of parliament in the area, somebody who knows what needs to be done, somebody who can hold those people accountable. I can assure you that with this report that I already have, I'll ensure that the water supply into Westlands is improved by not less than 50% in the first 5 years. And in 10 years, that we should not have any water problem. Because some of the issues that affecting water supply, of course, is old infrastructure. We are losing about 42% of the water because we have old infrastructure that needs to be replaced. The national government, of course, is working on 2 dams, the freezing capacity in Dakaine and Kiambu and the other dams that we have that pump water into Nairobi. And since Westlands is a very critical constituency that creates a lot of jobs, that creates a lot of wealth to the city, it is important that this constituency is given priority. The other areas, of course, are health. There are other the wards that have done very, very well under Nairobi Metropolitan and the leadership of Timothy Wanyonyi. But the others who still require a number of improvement in the health facilities. Therefore, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to work with the people of Westlands so that, in the first 5 years, we can see a formidable change and we transform Westlands into a hub. We want to make, Westlands into another Santon.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Thank you very much. You want to make Westlands another Santon of South Africa. Anybody who has been to Johannesburg, I don't know whether Daniel Wesonga, you have been to Johannesburg. As you are speaking, all your pictures were going around our screen, and you must have seen it. If you have an extra screen, we have displayed everything, the pictures, your background, what you have done, and you have said. But there's one question the lady Gladwell told me, asked me to ask you on her behalf. But she might come as we talk. Let's leave Wesonga to ask one, and Wesonga said he can't ask you one question because you are his boss. So somehow it leaves me and Miriam only to ask you questions. First of all, one of the things that every incoming aspirant talks about when they take power, when they want to take power, when they want votes from people, is I'll do. I think mine in the experience and the campaign I have taken part in several times, I always say, I might achieve. So I am also trying to teach you one political word. I will achieve. Because most of Kenyans are not happy with that word. I will. Because Ruto said, I will build 10 studies. I will bring the computer. They never came. He has now brought us wheelbarrow. So now one of the things Dr. Kisia is just to say, I am going to achieve. To add on what Timothy has done, I will achieve. The other part, that people who are looking at you, they say this man is sincere. You will achieve this. And then he ways he looks there. You will say you will change, you will paint. For example, Dr. Kisia, there are police stations in Westlands that have never been painted for 20 years. If you get a good businessman in a town who can buy 100 tins of paint and get younger men, and you dedicate 2 Saturdays or 3, 4 Saturdays, and say as the MP, I want to go from one police station to the other and paint these police stations and clean the toilets of where the inmates go. Make sure that the police stations are up to date. You don't ask for money from anyone. Those who want to contribute. Do you know how many people you see coming to give you free money to buy more paint, to go ahead and even paint their hospitals, paint their clinics, dispensaries? That's how we do our campaigns in the United Kingdom. Fortunately, I've been there for 37 years. I've been voting for Labour until I grew. After finishing my the second degree, I told Robin Cook and Tony Blair that let's change tactics. You know why Margaret Thatcher and John Major are beating us flat down? We are saying, I will do. The Labour government will do. The Labour government will do. Apana! Geuza hiyo, that word. I told Tony Blair I will achieve. 1998, tulimaliza. Mugabe, you know very well, I told you the story when we sat in Intercon. I would have been one of the best MPs around that House of Commons. Mugabe aliharibu, alichoma jina. You know, when I supported Mugabe, nilichoma jina yangu. Wazungu walianza kuniangalia ubaya. So, sasa, the only thing I can tell you, say, I will achieve 10% or 20%. Because most of the time, you will also be in parliament. And the other time bit, you will leave it for the constituency. The constituency people will give you the votes in the morning by 10 o'clock. Use that word from today. That's my wisdom. Yes. And Miriam, unless you have a question, we can give our guest parting shot. We have 4 minutes to 6 minutes. Daniel, do you have any? Or you have anything else? There are people on the network today. It has been up and down who have asked questions.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga David. And of course, apart from the politics of the IEBC and our election preparedness, maybe I'll just like to add on the discussion on the candidature of Dr. Philip Kisia. And I really maybe want to say that he has a very, very impeccable manifesto. He has a clear vision for the people of Nairobi. And having that, he has actually worked in Nairobi, and I believe he has been in Nairobi for a longer time than many of us. He has maybe the experience on how to maneuver on various issues that concern the city residents. And therefore, maybe I'll just like to notify him that I'm a voter in Westlands, and perhaps he has my vote. And I'm going also to convince my wife on that particular note, so that she can also be able to stand on the same side as I am. But nonetheless, I believe that is what the people of Nairobi and Westlands at large actually need. I submit.
Oh my God. Your wife, yes. You know, Dr. Kisia, we have now children. This is one of my sons, and I'm happy when he talks confidently, my wife. And so, thank you very much. Miriam, anything you have to ask the governor, the MP to be?
And of course, I was listening to some of the issues and things that he mentioned that the current sitting member of parliament for Westlands team has been doing in terms of addressing the issue of, the water and health and all that. And he seems to say he will continue, the programs that have been started, which I think is a good thing, because a lot of times I think the tragedy we've had in Kenya is maybe a leader has a great vision, does not get re-elected, and the good initiatives that started for that place, they get discontinued, and that has costed the taxpayer a lot of money. So it's good when you realize that the person that was there before you already set a good ground for you to continue on. It's a nice thing. But I'd like to hear, what is it that he wants to bring in that is new, his own agenda and what he intends to do outside of continuing with what team is doing. And on top of that, of course, he mentioned the issue of water, and we know that is a big problem in many estates here in Nairobi. And he said very well, some of it has to do with the old infrastructure, but we do know also we do have the issue to do with cartelism when it comes to water, in this city. And being a former, city clerk, maybe he does have a good insight, and the water shortage that is being experienced in some parts of Westlands and indeed across Nairobi. How is he intending to address that? So just those two questions for him for right now.
It's 12 hours.
Yes, Dr. Kisia, Miriam has asked, how do you intend to address those questions? I think you were listening. One of them is the water shortages that linger around West Nairobi. But Miriam, can I amplify your question? Your water problem. I'm getting worried. Kisia, maybe you can help us and help the millions of viewers, or hundreds and hundreds of thousands who might come on across this tape, because it's going to circulate all over the whole of Kenya and the world. People are digging, houses, they are digging deeper. You notice that these new buildings, water is not coming from the other method we used to use in colonial days, where we have sewage, and we have a place where you pump water and then it comes. But the people are now going on the real water down, where I think God has spared some water down there. Millions and millions of gallons. Now I have a worry here, and I want you also to help me and maybe put it in your thoughts, that are we digging this place? Remember, one of the problems of Nairobi is you cannot do an underground train, because Nairobi is Muji ya Maji, the place of waters. I think the Maasai named it that way. It is where everything comes. It's on a hill, but things have come and the water is here. But I've noticed that all the buildings, the new buildings that have come, Dr. Kisia, people dig so deep, you wait and wait, kumbe they are digging deep to look for that water. For example, where I stay, Dr. Kisia, I have never lacked water. And it is so sweet, it comes direct. But don't we think we are doing something wrong to the environment also? Why did God hide this water down there that we are going for? Yet we cannot build the water on top and protect it. I have a funny question like that. And I don't know whether I'm right or not, but Miriam, I don't know. For people, as long as the water comes to the pipe, people are not bothered. But me now, I'm getting bothered, because every big, huge buildings, there's one hotel that we are about to open next month near me called Marriott in Westlands. It's still one of the tallest buildings in Nairobi, Marriott Hotel, where they dug down deep. They went down for months, even 6 months. Then they got everything. There's water now. No, but you have not seen a new pipe. There's no new pipe that has been sent. The only pipe that has been sent is the one that takes the sewage to the resting place. But I have not seen any pipe of big water fresh coming from the reservoir, which is being used like those days when you used to have good towns, Nakuru, Nairobi, Mbale, Kampala, with good water. So don't you think there is something we are doing wrong that might one day become a catastrophe? That's my question, added to what Miriam was saying.
But mine had to do with the catalysm, water catalysm.
water cartel
in
for
the
her,
city,
but
and then
mine
how?
was the worry of the environment. Are we not degrading the environment, degradation of the environment in Nairobi by going for borehole water down the houses? There is another one which I'll ask you privately, because I don't want to put it on TV yet. You know why? I found it very difficult that there are some places where houses are for certain people only. Did you have that act in Kenya? I went somewhere to look for a house. Very nice. I saw it and I was told that in this house, if you eat meat, you can't go there. Town clerk, you are a member of this thing. You know that the laws in this. Please tell me. I was so mad. I up to today, my heart, I've been longing. That's why I've been calling you all the time. I wanted to ask you. I don't need to. It is for the. I was shocked. A very, very good apartment. When I went to 1, 2, 3 days, they said, no. Hapa kama unakula nyama wengi. Did you know that? Is it allowed in urban development? Laws, Miriam, and town clerk. If you can't answer that, leave it for you, because you need that vote. At the moment you are in election mode. Please leave it. You'll answer for me. But for me, I've asked it. I was shocked. I wanted to have a very nice, comfortable place to live in. But I was told you can't, even if you bring 2 million shillings. So those are some of the things that maybe in the future you can change some of the laws that we need to live under Azimio la Umoja. Thank you so much. You might not answer my question, but I have told you now. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Masanga. Always a pleasure to engage you. But I'll answer you because it's a fair question. The Constitution of 2010 is very clear. You cannot discriminate anybody based on religion, race, color. It is not allowed. So any form of discrimination goes against our 2010 Constitution. So I'll leave it there. But let me then quickly address some of the issues that have been brought forward. As a good student, Dr. Masanga, I've taken your advice very seriously. In fact, I've already improved it. I have improved it to read, or to read this way: we shall achieve.
Exactly.
We shall achieve. So anything we plan and state, we shall achieve. Remember, I'm a student of strategy, and we spend a lot of adequate time in planning. Yeah. But again, strategy, we have one thing that we value: monitoring and evaluating what you do. So we don't just plan. At the end of it, we come and ask ourselves, did we achieve what we said to achieve? If we did, very well. How can we do it better next time? If we didn't, why did we achieve? And who takes the blame? So, so you can be assured that with the involvement of all the people in Westlands, we shall achieve what we set to what we plan, what we planned. You have brought about an issue that I did about 3 decades ago. I and my team introduced community policing in the Republic of Kenya. We copied what the South Africans and people in St. Petersburg and other jurisdictions in Brazil are doing, where you involve community matters to do with policing. And like in South Africa, we actually were pleasantly surprised that the private sector puts in a lot of money into police infrastructure, particularly the police stations around it. They actually maintain the stations. They actually also supply motor vehicles. The time we had gone there, BMW had actually donated over 100 vehicles. So these are some of the things that I want to engage private sector where I've been before, so that they can participate more. Because when we have security in a particular area or in the region of Nairobi, the people who stand to benefit most are people in business. Now, the other matter that was raised was the issue of cartels. I and my team dealt with cartels very firmly in City Hall. And in the 3 years that we lasted there, we were able to break down the cartels. We never heard of those things called cartels, because in any event, these so-called cartels are human beings. So you can be rest assured, together with the people of Westlands, I am aware that there are cartels operating water, not only in Nairobi, but even other parts of Nairobi. Their time is out. They must get into other useful business. If they think that they shall continue surviving by disrupting the water supply system into Westlands, that is, they let them look for something else to do, because we shall not allow them to do. Now, water, as I said earlier, we're losing 42% of water because of the old infrastructure. If that can be done, if that can be repaired, then of course the water supply can improve by more than 40%. And that can go a long way in elevating the water shortage that we're experiencing in Westlands. Now, I really do not support the issue of digging boreholes, because it damages the environment. And in any event, with all the boreholes that we've, it's a temporary measure. And some of the boreholes go to almost 400 meters to get to the water table. So, and even after doing all that, investing all that time and all those resources, the contribution of water boreholes is less than 2%. So really, we should be focusing on building big dams so that we have more water flowing into taps of people in Westlands and in other constituencies in Nairobi. The other program that I, together with the people of Westlands, would want to encourage is the issue of water conservation. For example, surely, should we be using treated water in our bathrooms? Should we? Should we be using treated water to clean our motor vehicles, our clothes? Can't we harvest water and use that water for that purpose? So these are some of the interventions that we need to come up with. We need to come up with the regulations that will encourage people to harvest water, so that we can use the scarce resources that we have, more efficiently and more effectively. Now, the other question that I think Miriam did ask me was, how differently would I do things? As a student of management, I believe in continuous improvement. So nothing is ever 100%. I will never give myself 100% in anything, even when I know that I've scored 100%, because that makes you lazy, it makes you complacent, and therefore I intend to come up with the monitoring and evaluating teams. So once we have agreed on a program of delivery, there will be a separate team that will carry out jointly with the people of Westlands, evaluating our programs and reporting back to the people of Westlands on a quarterly basis. We must be held accountable. The problem we are facing right now as Kenyans is lack of accountability. And even when you fail, you have no moral, you don't feel morally obliged to say, I've failed and I want to step down. You want just to continue holding office, even when you know you have failed, even when you know that you are failing. I think these are the things that need to change, so that we have people who have some moral fabric, people who believe in morality, people who believe in ethics. I would want to encourage that one. But the other thing that I want to encourage is, of course, to deal with this issue that is called corruption. Because some of the services are interrupted because of corrupt practices by those who have been bestowed with the responsibility of providing services. And I can assure you, we've done it before with the team I had at City Hall. There's no reason why we cannot repeat the same thing in Westlands and even do it better. If we did it that time, we learned our mistakes, we shall do better, because I believe in continuous improvement. The other thing that I think one of you raised, I don't know this was Miriam or my brother Daniel Masonga, was, why do I believe in continuity? I, like my friend David, we are students, and we're still students. We do not believe in what we call in management zero approach to management. The zero mentality. That you believe that the person who was holding office did no work. So you want to start from zero. So you're always starting from zero. But if you have this mentality that a lot of work has been done, and you can build from that foundation, then you make progress. So I don't believe in the zero mentality approach to management. I believe in continuity, not continuing with things that are wrong, but continuing with things that were done correctly and can be improved. But those things that were done maybe not very correctly, of course, then there's room to improve, there's always room to change. But I would encourage even those who are seeking for office, management and life is not static. You can't come and say that you are God, that nothing has been happening, and you are calling yourself the so-called leader. In fact, I believe there's nothing like a leader, but we have something called leadership. Because when you start thinking and looking at yourself as the leader, you start suffering from what my professor in Harvard called, the big L syndrome, the Bwana Mkubwa. You have it on your face that nothing can move without me. But if you believe in leadership, then you believe in inclusivity, you believe in consultation, you consult people, you draw out programs jointly, you have a shared vision, and you move together. Because it is only together that we can move forward. You cannot move forward alone and leave millions of masses behind. That is my ending and parting shot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Philip Kisian. Thank you so much for your time today. Indeed, you've answered all my questions, Doc. I don't know if there's anything else.
Yes, I just want to thank Dr. Kisia that this television is your home. If you have a message that you want to deliver to any place in this country, do so. Thank you very much. I think he's gone already, but Miriam, I don't know, he must have switched off light or something. But that's it. Thank you very much for today, for me.
All right. Thank you also, Daniel Wesonga and Gladwell Rago, for your time too. This has been an extended version of the show that we had today, and we hope to see you later. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Miriam Ogutu. Bye-bye for now.